everyone, I'm Miss Alessandra from the Weston Public Library, and this is our Hallo-Teen Treats and Eats video. We're going to make a bunch of different recipes that you can enjoy if you're making a Halloween party and need some really great treats, or just need some treats when you have friends over. So I'm going to take you through this step by step for each recipe, let you know what the recipe is, then guide you through how to make it, and hopefully you'll enjoy some treats at the end. The first Halloween treat we're making today are hot pepper mummies, which are jalapeno poppers, except we are going to make them look like mummies by rolling them in Crescent dough and putting some eyes on them, some candy eyes. So the things that you're going to need for this are some jalapeno peppers. Mine are really big, but you might have small ones. You're going to need scallions, salt, pepper, garlic, cream cheese, sour cream, cheddar jack or pepper jack cheese, and crescent rolls. This is the pizza crust crescent rolls, Pillsbury, but you can use any that you want. We're going to be cutting it, so it doesn't really matter. And then you're going to need a mixing bowl, cutting board, knife, and a baking sheet. So the first thing that you're going to do for this recipe is preheat your oven to 400 degrees, line your baking sheet with parchment paper, and put that aside. You're then going to go ahead and wash your jalapeno peppers. I've already done that, and we're going to get started by cutting them. Just a warning, while you're touching these jalapeno peppers, do not touch your face, near your eyes. It will sting, so make sure after touching these, before you touch anything else, you wash your hands. So we're going to take each pepper and we are going to cut it in half lengthwise and scoop out the seeds, because we don't want to eat those. Okay, so cut it in half. We're going to scoop all of this out for each pepper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll move on to the next step. I've cut all of my peppers. I put them aside, and now you are going to grate your cheese if it's in a block, or measure it out if it's already shredded, like mine is. You need 1 cup of the cheese, so get that mixing bowl and put 1 cup or grate 1 cup into the mixing bowl. Okay, and dump that in. Put that aside, and we're going to cut up our scallions. So these are scallions. And we're actually only going to be using the green portion. You usually cook with the other part of the scallions. But we don't need all of these. Use 1 or 2. I'm just going to use 1 scallion and just dice up the scallion into tiny pieces. So when I say I'm dicing it into tiny pieces, it's super, super tiny. And that's also going to get thrown in with the cheese, which we're also going to be mixing the cream cheese in with. And for these peppers, you actually don't need sour cream, but if you wanted it to be creamier, you can add that in. I do have it here. We'll see what the mixture looks like with just the cream cheese when I add that in. Alright, so we're going to do just the green parts of our scallion, add that in to our bowl with the cheese, and then we are going to add in our cream cheese. So I got softened cream cheese. We're going to be using another cup of this. This one is 16 ounce, so a cup is 8 ounces. It's going to be half of this. I'm just going to scoop it out using one of my measuring spoons, but it is going to be about half this container. And it's just going right into the cheese mixture. Okay. So we're going to mix that up. I'm going to get a mixing spoon and mix that up. And then I'm going to add in some salt, pepper, and garlic. That's your preference. However much you want in there is fine. And if this isn't as cheesy as you like it, like I said, you can add in some sour cream if you want it to be a little bit softer, that filling. So I'm going to mix it up, and then we're going to fill our peppers. So I've mixed up our cheese mixture, and we're going to fill our peppers. So the way that you're going to fill them is you're going to take a spoon, and each half you're going to put a little bit in. So you don't want it to be like overstuffed, and you're going to do that with each half of the pepper so that both sides have a little bit. And just remember to try and keep them together so you know which ones go together. And you're going to do that for all your peppers. And then we're going to wrap them up to make them look like mummies. And it will come out like hot pepper mummies. Like I said, make sure that you've preheated your oven to 400 degrees and you've lined your baking sheet with some parchment paper so that you can be ready to put these in. Now we're going to wrap our peppers to make them look like mummies using our crescent rolls. I'm opening my package. There we go. We're going to take that dough out. And I'm going to roll it out on here. Okay. And now I have 6 peppers, so I am going to cut this into 6 even pieces so that I can then wrap my peppers. So I'm going to cut across both ways. Okay. And this way and this way. So I actually end up with 8 in case I need some extra filling. I cut them into triangles. You can cut them into rectangles and do the same thing, and you're just basically needing it to be kind of stringy. So I'm going to take the first pepper here, put them back together. This is where it gets a little bit hard, and you're going to begin wrapping the crescent dough around to make it look like a mummy, which means there's going to be some gaps, and it's okay if it doesn't look perfect, but it will look something like that. Do that to each piece of your peppers, to all of your peppers. So I'm going to wrap the rest of these, and then you're going to pop them in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes once the oven has preheated to the degree that you need. And when they come out, if you would like, you can add some candy eyes onto it. So I'm going to show you some candy eyes. So I have these candy eyeballs that I can just pop on at the end if I'd like to. Or you don't have to have eyes, you can just have the mummies. And that is our hot pepper mummies. I'll show you the after picture when they come out of the oven. Our next recipe today is severed toes in bandages, which is kind of like pigs in a blanket. So the things that you're going to need is some crescent rolls, some cocktail franks, some almonds, and ketchup if you would like. And the first thing that you're going to do is get a baking sheet ready. You can line it with aluminum foil and spray it if you like. And then we're going to open our crescent rolls. I have some dough left over from making the peppers, so I'm going to use that as well. Okay, pop that. And for this, we are going to need to be cutting the dough into strips, like bandage strips. And depending on how big your cocktail franks are, that will really help you figure out the size that you need to cut your dough into. So this is one of the triangles from the crescent rolls. I'm going to cut this horizontally across, and that's going to be a strip. So that's a strip. I'm going to put it aside, and I'm going to make strips, as many strips as I can, like that, by just kind of stretching out the dough. You should get 3 or 4 pieces from each triangle. And then we will bandage our toes. We are going to bandage our toes. I have all my bandages ready, all my toes ready, and we are going to do this one at a time by wrapping each cocktail frank individually with one of the pieces of crescent roll that we have already cut up. And then we're going to make a slit in the top, so you're going to leave a little bit of room to put in a toenail or an almond. So I'm going to take a piece of the crescent roll, just like we did with the mummies. We're going to wrap it so that it looks bandaged, like so, leaving the top open. You're going to take a knife and make a little slit at the top, like that. Grab an almond and put it in the slit to make it look like a toe. And you're going to do that with each cocktail frank. Once those are all done and on your baking sheet, you're going to preheat your oven to 450 and bake them for 10 minutes. And then you can use ketchup as blood if you would like. And I'll show you the end result. These are my bandaged toes. I am going to pop them in the oven for 10 minutes, and I'll show you them once they're cooked. This next recipe is called the PUKING pumpkin, and it's a chip and dip recipe. The things that you're going to need is a sugar pumpkin. We're going to carve that. I'm going to use queso, cheddar cheese. I got store-bought salsa and store-bought guacamole. And of course, you need some type of tortilla chips. So the first thing that you need to do is get a baking sheet out, and you're going to line each side, leaving the middle open, with tortilla chips. Okay, so I've left the middle open. I'm going to put some cheddar cheese on top of the tortilla chips, along with a little of the queso, which is a little spicy. I'm just going to pour a little bit of that on chips. I'll move it around in a second. Okay. And then you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees and bake this for about 10 to 15 minutes so the cheese can melt. So put this aside, wait for the oven to heat up, then pop it in, and we'll get to work on our pumpkin. So to make our puking pumpkin, you are going to open up and gut your sugar pumpkin, take all the insides out, and then we're going to be using the pumpkin carving knife to make a face look like it's throwing up. So when people throw up, mouths are open, their eyes kind of scrunch, so that's the face we're going to make, that type of face. So I'm going to make some triangular eyes where the points point inwards on both sides. Just cut the eyes out. I'm going to pop them out so you can see what I meant. So they're pointing inwards. That's where the points are going. And now I'm going to make a big, wide, open mouth. So just like a big oval. Because if you're throwing up, your mouth is open. So some of the insides of my pumpkin is kind of coming out of the mouth, but that's the puking face. And we are going to finish up our puking pumpkin once those chips come out of the oven. I'm going to close them up for now, and we'll go back to this. Our chips are ready from the oven, so the cheese has melted. And now we are going to make our puking pumpkin around our chips with the dip. So I'm going to get that pumpkin that we carved with the puking face, and he's going to go at the head of our chips. So if you have to move your chips around, that's fine, but you do want him up at the top there. Now what we're going to do is we are going to take our guacamole, whether it's homemade or store-bought, and put it down the middle of those chips as if it's coming out of his mouth. So you're going to put a little bit in his mouth like so. Okay. Like that. And that's our first layer of what the pumpkin is puking out. And we're going to add some salsa to look a little bit bloody on top of that. And finally, we're going to top that with just a little bit of sour cream. And you'll have a puking pumpkin chips and dip. This next recipe is called Dracula's Dentures, and we're going to need some baked chocolate chip cookies, which are already made. I bought them store-bought, but you can bake yours and then wait for them to cool to do the rest. You're also going to need mini marshmallows, vanilla or white frosting, red food coloring, and slivered almonds. I'm also going to be using a butter knife, so you can get that prepared as well. You're going to cut each cookie in half. That's why I'm using a butter knife. It's so that they don't really break. They just go right in half. You're going to do that with each cookie. You can make as many cookies as you like. Once all of your cookies are halved, you're going to open up your frosting and you're going to add in some red food dye. So Dracula is going to have a bloody mouth. These cookies are his mouth and his teeth. So I'm going to add into my frosting a couple of drops of this red food gel. And again, use that butter knife to mix it. Again, we want it to be like a bloody red color. So very dark red. Don't want any pink, very dark red. So I may have to add some more. It's not as dark as I would like it right now. So I'm going to add some more food coloring. I'm just mixing it in. When it's the color that you want it, you are ready to line your cookies. And each cookie is going to look like a mouth. That's why we cut them in half. So you're going to line the bottoms and the tops with a little bit of that red frosting. Okay. Now you're going to open up your mini marshmallows, which are going to act as the regular teeth. And you are going to line those all around the bottom cookie, whichever is the bottom, that's fine. You may have to add a little more of the frosting to make it look kind of bloody on the outside. Alright, and then you are going to take the top. Again, it's okay if you get frosting on the outside, it makes it look bloody. So those are your regular teeth. But we know that Dracula is a vampire, which means he has fangs. So, needing something that looks like fangs, that's why we have our slivered almonds. You're going to find 2 slivered almonds that are very pointy. What I'm going to do is actually cut this guy in half, because that's how I get the best points. So slivered almonds, very pointy. And our fangs come from the top. So you are going to put your fang coming from the top. Remember, you want it to look pointy. So make sure your almond is pointy. And that is a Dracula denture. So you're going to do that with each cookie. The next treat we're going to make is called Monster Munch, and you are going to need to cook a bag of microwavable popcorn for this. And then you can add in candy corn, Reese's Pieces. I have other candies. These are pumpkin sprinkles, and these are witches and witches brooms, because I don't like candy corn. But you can add in candy corn if you like. And then you're going to need some melted baker's chocolate. So get out a baking sheet and open up that popcorn. Spread the popcorn out on your baking sheet. Make another bag. So I made some more popcorn, covered my baking sheet with it. I have my melted baking chocolate, and I'm going to just kind of drizzle that all over the popcorn for our Monster Munch. You can do it however you like. If you want to use a Ziploc bag, cut the tip off one of the corners, you can pipe it on, or you can do like I'm doing with a spoon, and I'm literally just drizzling all over. So this chocolate will harden onto the popcorn, so it's not going to make you too sticky when you eat it. So I've put my chocolate on. Now I'm going to add in the pumpkin sprinkles I have. But again, like I said, if you have other candy you want to add in, like candy corn, you certainly can. I have some witches brooms and witches sprinkles. As you can see, everything is just kind of Halloween colors, autumn colors. And then I have Reese's Pieces because they come in our orange and yellow and brown colors. So I'm going to sprinkle those on as well. And that is our Monster Munch. So you're going to let that cool so that the chocolate can harden, and then you can enjoy that. We're going to make some drinks. The first drink that we're going to make is a Goosebumps punch, and what you need for that is some type of lemon lime soda. I have 7-Up, some sherbet, some creepy crawlies. I have sour gummy worms, and a type of green food coloring. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill your cup about halfway with your lemon lime soda. I'm going to let that fizzle down while I get a scooper for the sherbet. Add a little more here so it is halfway. There we go. And then I'm going to take the green food coloring and do a little drop. I have a gel so it is a little bit different than regular food coloring, but it will still change it green. I'm just mixing it up right now. Changing it green. And then I'm going to take my scooper to my sherbet and do a couple scoops of sherbet. This one is orange sherbet, but you can choose whatever type of sherbet you want. It's gonna fizz, which is what you want it to do. Okay. And then you're gonna take a couple of your creepy crawlies. Like I said, I have some sour gummy worms, and you're gonna put them actually in the drink. So do, 2 or 3 in the drink, and then you're going to stretch them out and have them hanging off the sides of the drink. And that is a Goosebumps punch. We also have another drink, and this one is called a vampire float. For the vampire float, you're going to need the lemon lime soda. You're also going to need some red juice. So this is our fruit punch. And vanilla ice cream. You can also use some vampire fangs if you'd like, but I don't have any vampire fangs, so I can't use them. So you're going to do the same thing. Fill your cup about halfway, maybe a little bit less than half, like a third, with your lemon lime soda. And then about a third with your red punch or your Hawaiian punch if you're using Hawaiian punch. That's what's making it like that blood red color. And then you're going to scoop in some vanilla ice cream. So a scoop or 2 will work. There we go. And that is your vampire float. I hope you enjoyed making all of these Hallo-Teen treats and eats, and I hope you enjoy eating them. See you guys next time. Happy Halloween.